94.3 The Dude is very grateful to our men and women in uniform. We're proud to recognize local members of our military by turning the spotlight on them right now in our Soldier Salute.
I'm your host, Sergeant First Class Retired Don Sorensen, and on today's Soldier Salute, we're speaking with United States Army veteran Mike Six Christine. Six, tell me about yourself.
Hello, I'm 38 years old, married with 2 daughters. I have a 10 and 12-year-old, live in Lexington. I signed up right in the beginning of 1999 when I was a senior in high school, and as soon as I graduated, went in the National Guard for 2.5, 3 years, and then September 11th happened, and decided it was time to go active duty and do the Army thing full time. I just wanted to go kick some butt, like about everyone else at that time frame. You know, we all wanted to just go kick butt. I signed up for active duty and got shipped up to Fort Drum, New York, 10th Mountain Division. And at the time, I was infantry, was kind of tossing back, reclassing, got up to drum, and I did reclass. Took a break from the infantry for a while, tried to get myself out of the field, out of that cold, up at drum, and that didn't work out for me so well. I tried to do the maintenance side for a year or two, and got attached to a main supply and ground support unit right back with the infantry. So I was still out in the field every day, doing the same thing, and I never once did my single job on a piece of equipment at Fort Drum. Never touched my MOS. I stayed infantry pretty much the entire time I was at Fort Drum. Deployed to them in 2003. Thought we were going to Afghanistan with everyone else, and lo and behold, we got sent to go help with the invasion of Iraq. Went over and shipped out to Kuwait and did our thing over there. Did a lot of security and QRF missions and some border security between Iraq and Kuwait. Sat there, and we were there just about 17 months, the first tour. We were getting extended left and right, and everyone else was going home, but I guess we were just doing too good of a job, so we got stuck there for quite a while. Came home and just continued on with the military life. In 2007, ended up going back into the Guard, try to be at home a little bit more with the family.
All right, Six. In the introduction, I just told everyone your name was Mike Six Christine. Listeners that aren't familiar with the military and how we all end up with kind of cool or crazy nicknames may be wondering, where's the Six come from? Tell me how you got the nickname Six.
It's actually a pretty good story to bring up. The nickname now currently has a lot of meaning with having my brother's backs. And now that I'm out of the service and as a veteran, I kind of use that to keep fueling myself. You know, everyone that knows me as Six, I was like, that's right, he'll have your back. He's got your back. In the military, it was the same thing. I spent a lot of time behind a machine gun and behind that 50 up in a turret. And I always had everyone's backs. I had my squad's back. I had everyone's back. So that name just kind of stuck. But that's not where it originated from. Originally, my road name when I used to ride with a motorcycle, clubs and whatnot, was Six Pack. And people ask all the time if that came from my love of beer, which sort of, yeah, it did. But I have a 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon tattooed on my stomach when I was a little bit more overweight at a period of my life as a joke that I would never have an actual 6-pack again. So I got that tattooed, and I just kind of carried on with the 6-pack nickname. And over the years, it just kind of turned into Six. It just fits with my whole mentality of having my brothers and sisters' backs all the time, as much as I can. That's the story of the name Six. That's where it came from.
Six, I think most listeners have probably heard of 10th Mountain, if for no other reason than from the movie Black Hawk Down. Tell me about your impressions with 10th Mountain. There's
a big legacy with being with 10th Mountain Division, not just with Somalia and whatnot, but just their actions coming about in World War II when they were activated out in Colorado before moving to Fort Drum, New York. They've always been an elite, rapid deployed division. It's always been the best of the best. A lot of good divisions out there, but 10th Mountain just lives up to every bit of it. It's a tough division. It doesn't matter what your job is. You're rocking it, and it's cold, and you're in the snow, like 30 below zero, and it sucks. it's a good time. There's a lot of pride being in 10th Mountain, I think, and in any unit, like 82nd, there's pride in being in that unit. There's pride, but out of every unit and everywhere I've ever been, I think the most proud I've ever been was with 10th Mountain, and that's just been a big honor to me, serving with them. I was fortunate enough and honored to serve with them in a combat theater in 2003, 2004. And we brought home everybody on that tour as far as our guys. They have the mountain school. They send guys up in Vermont. I didn't actually go through the mountain school when I was at Drum. I kept getting missed out on opportunities and was stuck on deployment when I had a chance to go to school. But it was all for the best anyway. Opened up other doors and, got to do other things in my career.
Six, when you were with 10th Mountain, you were saying that you went into Iraq in 2003. That was the initial buildup of forces and invasion, as you will have it. Tell me about that experience.
Oh, man, a while ago. Well, in late 2002, tensions had been building up and building up. We had Afghanistan going on already for more than a year. My unit, a few of us were out at Fort Irwin, California, out at NTC, out at the training center. And, we all thought, all right, we're going to Afghanistan, it's coming, everyone else is in Afghanistan, we're all pumped up. So we're out here training in the mountains, doing our thing on the desert side, cross country. And we get back to our unit. That night we got back, our commander says, all right, well, keep your stuff packed. We're going to be ready to fly out to Kuwait to stage for the invasion with 3rd ID. Got our bags packed and ended up sitting around for about 3 more months from that. And didn't happen. Things kept getting pushed back. And then we thought we were going to Afghanistan. And sitting on the tarmac at Wheeler Sac Airfield, right after the initial invasion, our unit actually went into Kuwait and staged on the border with 82nd, right in the middle of the push. Some of our guys were in there, and some stayed back in Kuwait, and we kind of split up all over the place. Primarily just did QRF missions on the border of Iraq and Kuwait, and gate security and base security, stuff like that, which being an infantry guy in such a known division wasn't quite our top list of what we wanted to do on our first initial deployment, but things went about and it worked out, and we did a lot of other stuff over there. Had plenty of other missions to accomplish.
6, during one of your many deployments, you actually had a really close call with an IED or improvised explosive device. Man, that's not easy to come home to.
October 6th, 2009, about 2 o'clock in the morning or so, we're doing a convoy escort mission. I was in the scout truck up ahead, normally about a click, 1,000 meters ahead of everyone else, clearing the route of IEDs or whatnot, or trying to. Well, we were all bunched up. We were coming off an exit onto a route known as Vernon, coming into the backside of Baghdad, bed down for the night, and treading along, got a big flash of light and a boom go off right next to us. At the time, I didn't know what it was. I was yelling. I thought we were getting mortared. I was like, initial shock was like, holy crap, man. Being in a turret as a machine gunner, when you're outside of a vehicle and that happens is probably a little bit different, than being inside the vehicle. Driver and TC didn't even really know what happened until I was yelling on the radio there and ID went off. Didn't really hear much over the headsets and whatnot. There's a lot of confusion, and we had a huge situation with that when that happened. I could go on for hours about it. But anyway, that was probably one of the bigger instances on my last deployment that really kind of changed my mentality of things. And I've been through things before, but that last time I had 2 kids. They were like 3 and 1. I was married, and it hit a little bit different to me mentally, having been that close. And coming home was hard, finding that adrenaline, that adrenaline of a deployment, that adrenaline of getting shot at, that just everything about combat. It sucks, and you're like, I hate every minute of it. When you get home and you get out, you're like, oh man, I miss this. I miss every minute of it. I'm crazy. I miss it, but that's just what we do. Unfortunately for me and a lot of other people, I think is one reason that we turn to drugs or alcohol, not just to cope with PTSD and combat stress, or I like to call it PTS. I don't really see it as a disorder. I think, just finding that sense of that rush of combat was a big thing. And to me, unfortunately, that was one of the reasons I did turn to some drugs at the time and alcohol.
6, you faced an IED and you came home with some demons because of that led you into some drug and alcohol abuse. How did you find the strength to cope with that?
Definitely faced demons when I came home back in 2010, and to this day I still battle demons every day. There's a few things. Really, the biggest thing that was my wife and my kids. I've always tried to do everything for my kids, especially when it was the case when alcohol was involved. But my wife was the biggest part. She stuck by my side, and it was kind of got to the point of, well, I'm leaving if you don't quit drinking. It's being a problem. So that was a big eye-opener. But being outside, and I just try to stay busy, and that started to kind of help me get out of that, of sitting around drinking and just feeling sorry for myself all the time. Just been trying to associate with other veterans out in the area and get out and helping each other out as much as we can. Showing other veterans, especially there's other ways to cope with what we've been through, not just masking it with alcohol or drugs. Even if it makes you feel good, we all like to have a drink here and there with our brothers. But masking is not going to help anything. It's just going to make it worse. So Just get outside and just try to enjoy life and get out there.
Six, I'll tell you, man, one of my favorite things always about wearing the uniform was the way that little kids looked at me. I remember being at a mall one time and there was a Spider-Man there, and I walked in and it's like, oh, there's G.I. Joe. So it's like I was the superhero. Like all good superheroes, you've got an alter ego. Tell me about DJ Six.
Oh, man, call me out. All right, I am a DJ. I go by DJ Six. Music has been my life for 38 years now. I was born into music. When my mom was pregnant with me, they were going to see like Alice Cooper and The Who or whoever else, and I'm pretty sure it has something to do with my hearing loss, not just military. My dad played drums and still plays drums. He's been playing his whole life. My brother plays drums, and growing up, started playing piano at a really young age and moved on to drums and switched to trumpet in middle school and played in the marching band, did all the band stuff, big band nerd kind of guy, and art and stuff in high school. I always used music as a getaway for me in all my bad times in my life, especially with my depression and PTSD. Music's always been there to kind of pull me out. About 6-7 years ago, I started really getting into the DJing side of things. I'd kind of messed around with it at parties back in the day and stuff, and I've been a big collector of records for years and years and years, thanks to my dad. My wife is not super thrilled about all the records all over the house and stored up, but I was collecting records and getting into that. I said 6-7 years ago, I linked up with a buddy of mine, and it just kind of happened. I was taking pictures for him at some shows downtown and doing some nightlife stuff with him and kind of getting into it, and it just happened. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get back into playing music one way or another. And instead of picking up an instrument and playing, I've been doing it DJing, and whether it's house dance music and techno or hip hop, it's been part of my life, and that's what I enjoy, playing for other people. And I do have to say, I got to give a shout out to Wise Minds, because as my current group who I DJ with, you guys are into hip hop, go check them out. We're on Spotify. I DJ with them, and they got some great stuff. Getting ready to get into the production side of music finally in my life at 38. And you just got to live life, so let's keep doing the DJ thing now.
Thanks for joining us in our Soldier Salute, presented by Little Pigs Barbecue, serving Columbia since 1963 with that bodacious buffet, and by Lexington Guns and Shooting Range, veteran owned and operated.